pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
I'd consider a motion to reconvene as the County Board of Equalization.
I so move.
Second.
Thank you. Sean, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins, Commissioner Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes. All right. Good afternoon,
Good
Carla.
afternoon. This is a tabled appeal from April 22nd. It's in regards to owner-occupied status. It is parcel number 240.66.03.011. It's under the name of Todd and Janelle Boots, located at 2325 Mary Moore Circle in T, South Dakota. The Bootses purchased the property on November 10th, 2020, as recorded in the Register of Deeds office. They filled out an application for owner-occupied status in our office, and its date in March 1st, 2021. We received it March 4th, 2021. After the certificate of owner-occupied dwelling certificate was received in our office, we sent a denial letter for the purpose that they did not occupy the home as of, they did not own or occupy the home as of November 1st, 2020. They purchased it November 10th. In the review letter, it stated they must appeal to the county auditor's office by April 6th. The Bootses have sent a letter to the board in regards to they did occupy the home prior to November 1, but the purchase date was in November. Staff is recommending for no change, which means to not allow owner-occupied status because they did not occupy or they did not own the home November 1st, 2020.
Can you hear me?
What was that statute?
The statute, there's a few different statutes in regard to owning and occupying, and then that's 1013-40. That's the eligibility for owner-occupied, and they have to have the certificate submitted to the Director of Equalization by March 15th. And there's some subsequent laws pertaining to the period of which assessment, which is made, which is the legal assessment date of November 1, that's 106-2, and what type of properties are classified as owner-occupied, and that's 1013-39.
This is Todd. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay.
When we're ready for you, I'll let you know.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I had my volume up enough on my dash on my truck. So.
These are some pictures that the appellant supplied to board to show that they were actually living in the house prior to November 1st or on November 1st. This is dated October 30th, 2020. The appellant is sitting at his dining room table, and this is dated November 1st, 2020. So they
Mr. Boots?
Yes.
All right, you want to just go ahead and let us know what you'd like us to know?
Okay. Well, I'll try to do the short version since most everybody got to hear it Thursday. And I do understand the law and everything. I'm not questioning the valuation. Just as you can see by the paperwork I had, we were supposed to be in October 1st, but due to COVID, threw some curveballs at me getting all the material here, and the builder getting the material here. So we moved back a couple times for closing. And then it got to the point where I couldn't get anything at the very end of the month because obviously, as my banker told us, due to the November 1st, everybody was busy. So I took what I could get comfortably with there, and the builder let us move in because they did get final occupancy. The 2 newel posts we were waiting on to say so we could have a stairwell came in. We got them installed. We got a final occupancy, I think it was around October 26th, 27th. So nobody had a problem with us moving in. And we had some obviously skin in the game, $5,000. Had the proceeds from our house in an escrow account to give to the builder. So, I mean, there was really no way to walk away from that house since it wasn't, something that they would build for somebody else. It was built the way we wanted it. I mean, the paint, the stone, and everything. So, and again, I guess I understand I can reapply, but just with it being such a strange year last year, I thought it was worth asking you guys if I could get occupied status for this year. So that's kind of the short version, unless anybody wants me to go over anything else.
No, I think I understand what your position is, and I wasn't present at the last meeting when this was presented. I'm just looking at these statutes, and I don't see where we really have the leeway if you weren't the registered owner of the property with the equalization office. I mean, there's a couple of exceptions, but this was a new construction, correct?
Yes. And like I say, it kind of threw the wrench at it for, should have been done October 1st and ready to go, but waiting on some odds and ends to get here that were back ordered and stuff, pushed it back, and then we had to push it back again, and then I couldn't get a closing date. We were able to get occupancy, and the bank and the builder had no problem with us moving in because they knew we weren't backing out on the house because we had, something in it, and obviously we had it built for us, so we sure weren't going to walk away from it if we lived in it for a week and just bailed out on them. So
Sure, no, I'm looking at, what the ownership requirements are, and it says that the owner is the owner of the owner-occupied dwelling as recorded by the Director of Equalization in the county where the dwelling is located. So I want to give you owner-occupied, but I think the way the laws are written, that we need to interpret them as written and apply the facts to, apply the law to the facts. So I guess I'm not going to be able to vote in support of it. I don't know if anybody else has any questions for the owner that didn't already get asked.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Poppins.
Yeah, given the circumstance, the question that I had, and I'm not the attorney nor a judge in essence, but is there any? To me, it seems a little vague, given that he was in possession of the property. Who actually owned it? Now, the statute clearly says it has to be recorded as such, I can definitely understand that, but I don't know that by all intentions he is the owner, given he takes possession. It was a custom-built home. There's, I don't know that, I believe it could be at least argued that he was the owner as of that date. Now, if it says in the statute, and forgive me for not reading it clearly if that way is the case, that it had to be recorded in a different fashion with the equalization office, there's definitely a hard amount to climb there. So,
Right. I mean, that would be my only hesitancy in granting this, is that it doesn't, I don't see any exceptions that would let us get around this. So I guess those are my 2 cents on that. But what I'm going to do is just ask for a motion one way or the other from the
I
board.
do have one more question for Carla, if I could.
Sure.
Carla, so in the cases that the boards have some discretion, this is pretty much about as gray of a matter, because majority of the times it's the occupancy that gets to be the tipping point, that they did not actually occupy it. Is there any definition from the state as to what variances that we can use for granting either owner-occupied status or making changes? Because we constantly are doing that. It's just what is the guidance from the state on that?
One of the laws that I supplied to you, I believe that's where it states that the County Board of Equalization has the final.
And Mike, so I'm looking at SDCL 1013-39.1, which addresses a request to classify certain property as owner occupied. So as part of that, it does say if the Director of Equalization determines that such portion is occupied by the owner and meets the requirements of 1013-39, then that could happen, but you have to define the word owner. So,
Yeah, I think that's where I get back to, given he took occupancy, to me that in my mind says he is the owner at that point. It's the payment had not been finalized, but he was in all essence, in my belief, the owner of it. But again, this is an interpretation. I do look at it, given he took both the lending agency and the owner or the builder of the property turned over possession of him to the home by letting him move in. So.
right. So,
But you get to decide. I'm on
Well,
one side.
that's the owner, is what is an owner, and then there's a statute that defines what an owner is.
Right.
and
And when I looked at it with him, both the lender and the builder giving him possession, that to me is ownership. But again, it can be argued, I believe, both ways. So.
Sure. I'll entertain your motion if somebody wants to make a motion. One way or the other.
I'll again move to grant the owner-occupied status.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, Sean, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Aaron's, Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins,
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt, Commissioner Landine.
Unfortunately, I'm going to vote no. So I think this puts us back at the same place that everyone was at last time. Any luck on getting Commissioner Aaron's?
I'm I'm looking under some codified administrative rules to see if there's a different definition of owner.
Yeah, if there's a workaround,
Yes.
I'd be happy to see it.
Yes, I remember seeing it. They've changed some of our rules, but
Jake, can you shoot him a text message? Thank you.
why do I keep having to go back?
Otherwise, Madam Chair, I'll have to think that given a failure to solidify the approval of it, it would fail, would it not?
It would fail. At this point, we've got a motion that has failed. So I can consider another motion, or we can continue to try and get Commissioner Aaron's on the line. I know he couldn't be here personally present, but I thought maybe he would be able to be available for a call.
Right here. They repealed it.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because the definition of ownership requirements was adopted in 2017, and I'm guessing that they
Yes, they
repealed that about the same time.
made it a law instead of a rule.
Okay. So with that, I would consider another motion, if there's one to be had.
Clarification, Carly, did you say that they made it a law instead of a rule?
Yep, it's SDCL 101339.3. It's, addresses ownership requirements for classifying dwellings as owner occupied.
And it specifically says it has to be recorded with the register of deeds or who?
It says an owner shall be the owner of the owner occupied dwelling as recorded by the Director of Equalization in the county where the dwelling is located. It goes on to say a joint tenant, an owner of a life estate, a partner, a person owning an interest in a limited liability company, a person owning an interest in a corporation, a vendee of a contract for deed, or a beneficiary of a trust is considered to be an owner. Any owner may claim a credit only on the single-family dwelling used as a principal residence. An owner may have more than one parcel of land classified as owner occupied if the additional parcel is contiguous, et cetera, et cetera. It does say if the dwelling is occupied by a parent of the owner, the parent is considered the owner and occupant. The owner or a legal representative of the owner may sign for signature purposes on the certification of an owner-occupied dwelling. So I don't think that solves our problem, because I think it's just limited to as recorded in the Register of Deeds to take the gray out of it, so to speak. But
Will we be able to get Commissioner Aaron's back?
I don't think so, if he hasn't responded. So we're not having any luck.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
I agree with you. It probably can go both ways on this situation, so, however, since the first one failed, I'll move that we vote to deny. It's my motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, Sean, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner
And-
Gibbon?
Yep, go ahead.
Commissioner Gibbon?
The motion is to deny
Owner occupied.
the owner-occupied status, as I understand it. So if you're voting yes, you are voting no to the owner-occupied status.
Yes.
We do have him on the line?
I'll withdraw my motion.
We do need a vote, and,
I'll withdraw my motion.
okay, and Commissioner Gibbon, would you withdraw your motion for further discussion?
Yes, I'll withdraw.
Okay. Sean, will you call the roll on the withdrawal of the motion?
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. Okay, so the motion has been withdrawn. Joel, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Okay. So we're stalemated on this owner-occupy issue thus far. So I'm looking for a motion of some sort to either
Could he
approve.
vote on this last one? When we voted 2-2, can he break the tie?
We would have to, he can break the tie, but we need another motion. So
I will move to approve the owner-occupied status.
thank you, Commissioner Poppins. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Could
I have
you
a
just
motion
say
and a
what
Get
second.
that off the dime.
Did he make a motion to allow the people to file their appeal? Is that what it was?
That's the motion that's on the table right now.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second already, Commissioner Aaron's.
Oh, okay.
So
It's not to allow him to appeal it, it's allowing him to get the owner-occupied status.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
correct. So is there any further discussion? Okay, if there's no further discussion, then Sean, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
No.
Commissioner Landine?
No. Motion carries. So it will be listed as owner occupied unless somebody tells us differently. So
Thank you guys for your time.
you bet. Sir, you have a good
Thank you, everyone.
afternoon.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So I will entertain a motion to recess as the County Board of Equalization.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Sean, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes. So we are in recess until May 4th.